Hey, do you remember this webcam from a video we did like back in March? And is still, by the way, 7 months later, the only webcam I've given a positive review to. Yeah, well, AVermedia never actually ended up releasing that webcam, which is unfortunate, but it makes sense because it was like a $400 webcam targeted at businesses, not at streamers. They did, however, release a brand new webcam today, and I'm sure as you saw from the title, it is $250. Let's see if it's worth it. Before we get started, I'd like to give a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Owned.tv. Owned is your one-stop shop for all your stream aesthetic needs, whether it be overlays, panels, alerts, whatever. And if you like this YouTube channel and you like the aesthetic and the style that we go for, there is a brand new overlay on there called Alpha Gaming, which we made with them to look like this channel. And I think they did a phenomenal job. So if you're looking for a clean aesthetic similar to what we do on this channel, feel free to head over there. There's a link in the description below. And if you use that link, it actually supports the channel. So thank you. Also, if you'd like 40% off, make sure you use code ALPHA at checkout. If you have any questions about webcams or the live streamer cam 513, I don't like their naming scheme. Anyway, feel free to jump in and ask me in my stream. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, link in the description below. I spend a lot of time in just chatting. Hit me. Let's go unbox this thing. First thing I'm most pumped about with this is the field of view. It's not as wide as that chonky boy from the other video, which was like, what, 105 degrees or something. This is 94 degrees, which is still super wide. It's a lot wider than any of the other ones. For example, the Logitech streamcam is 78 degrees. The Brio, which is super wide, is only 90 degrees. This one's 94. It also shoots in 1080 60 as well as 4K 30. Let's open this up and see what's inside. Oh, this is bigger than I thought it was gonna be. Like a lot bigger. I was looking at the front. I don't know if you've seen AVermedia's cameras before. I mean, they look like this, and you know, this big. Holy cow. This thing is fat. Let me grab the other AVermedia camera just to show you what I'm talking about. Here we go. This is what I was expecting. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you know, this is you, and this is the guy she tells you not to worry about. Look at this thing. And not only just at the front, but it's got a whole, dude, I'm pumped about this. I don't understand the idea behind making tiny, sleek little webcams. They're sitting on top of your monitor. They don't go anywhere. Make them big if you can make them look good. And this feels good. You've got a detachable USB-C port on the back. I like that a lot. What cable does it come with? Please tell me it's USB-A on the computer end. We'll see. Oh baby, this makes me happy. They included USB-C on the side that goes into the camera, and on the other side it's just standard USB type A. That is good news. And it's got this little privacy thing right here that kind of just goes down. The biggest takeaway here, first of all, the housing feels great. This feels high quality, which makes me really happy. But I'm gonna go back to, I'm so pumped about how big this thing is. This lens is just massive. Can you see the difference there? Let me zoom in real quick. Look at the difference. It's just the lens there. The light intake is going to be insurmountably higher. So real quick, before we plug this thing in and take a look at the important thing, how it actually looks, let's take a look at specs and compare it to kind of its two main competitors right now, both from Logitech. The first one being the Logitech streamcam, which goes for $180 MSRP. I have no idea how much it's being price gouged for right now. That we reviewed early 2020, the other one being the Logitech Brio, which has been around for a while. Both of them have their strengths and weaknesses. The Brio, I believe, MSRP is for $200, and this one going for $250. First thing, resolution. This thing can do full 4K 30 frames per second, which is an improvement over that AVermedia Chunky Boy camera, which could do 4K. It was either 24 or 25 frames per second. I don't remember, but not a full 30. I believe I was told from AVermedia that this could also do 1080 60. I don't see it on the box, so we'll have to check when we plug it in. I would be shocked if I've never heard of a 4K 30 webcam that couldn't do 1080 30. The Logitech streamcam can only do 1080 60, no 4K on that camera, and the Brio can do 1080 60 as well as 4K 30. Field of view, I already said the numbers. Let's throw them up over there. For me, this is a big one. I feel like streamers in general like a really wide view. They deck out their background, the room behind them. They have the webcam pretty close, and they don't want to look like it's just zoomed in on the face. I'm pumped that this goes all the way out to 94 degrees. We're gonna have to see how that looks. And then of course the connection, this one as well as the Brio, both being removable USB Type-C. StreamCam, this was one of my biggest gripes with it. It is a non-detachable USB Type-C cable, meaning one, you're forced to use USB Type-C unless you get an adapter, and two, you can't get a longer cable plugged into it unless you buy an extender. So it was a really weird choice on their part. But then of course there is one area where the StreamCam has an advantage, which is the software. As far as I've seen about this in all the documents I've gotten, there's no special software feature on here where the StreamCam has the Logic Capture software, which has little things like auto zoom in on your face, custom control over the camera, exposure and stuff like that. This is basically just going right in, plug and play. Hey, Future Harris here. Thought I should let you know I just got an email from AVermedia letting me know there is software available for this webcam. It's called Cam Engine. It's available for Windows as well as a light version available for Mac that lets you do things like color correction, digital zoom and image flips, even ePTZ options such as AI facial tracking and stuff like that. So wanted to let you know those are there, unlike what I said earlier in the video. Do what you will with that. Back to yesterday's Harris. But none of that matters if it doesn't look good, so let's give it a shot. By the way, if you're noticing the shirt change, yeah, it's because I realized after filming there was a stain on my other shirt. I'm hoping it didn't show up in the footage, but I'm super self-conscious about it right now. But either way, it's a good excuse to throw on this shirt and rep Stream Beats, which is the best copyright-free music for streamers and content creators. Over 500 tracks with 4 different genres. Never get a DMCA in your life. Link in the description below. But we are here at the stream setup. I've got 3 webcams set up right here. We've got the Logitech StreamCam, the Logitech Brio 4K, and of course the AVermedia 513. Let's go through all 3 of them real quick. First, we got the Logitech StreamCam and compare that with the other Logitech camera, the Brio 4K. First thing you notice is how much wider the Brio 4K is. It's because it's got a 12 degrees wider field of view. And that's the difference between this and this. StreamCam, Brio. The StreamCam also tends to add some extra pink into the image, which is really noticeable in the skin tones. If we go back to the Brio, you can kind of see it's a little bit more of an orangey tone. I'm not a crazy fan of either of these colors. Neither of them are super accurate, but it mostly just kind of depends on the light you have in the background versus the foreground, which one looks a little bit more natural. But let's now jump over to the AVermedia 513. That's not even fair. Damn, that looks so good. Wait, let's go back and forth again. Here we got the StreamCam at $180 and then at $250. This doesn't look like a webcam. I've literally never seen a webcam look this good, have this much dynamic range, have this much color depth, have this much color accuracy. And that 4 degrees from 90 to 94 makes a massive difference. Let's list the things that I've already noticed that make this camera so much better, and I've only been using it for about 20 to 30 minutes. First off, practicality. My PC is all the way over here. It's just got a monitor. There's a monitor here, and then a PC over here. And the StreamCam cable is stretched to its limit. It's the furthest it can go, and it's barely on top of the monitor. The cable that came with the AVermedia 513 is a tiny bit short. The swivel head on the top is a little bit loose, so if I pulled it too far, it would turn the camera all the way over here. But it's detachable. So I just grabbed a different, longer USB Type-C cable, plugged it in, and now I can put it wherever I want. That's such a tiny thing. That's such a big deal when it comes to practical use, especially of a webcam, where sometimes your PC is placed pretty far away. The second practical thing was against the Brio, which you may have noticed I'm not totally centered. That's because the Brio doesn't have a swivel head on the top of it. It is stuck facing directly forward. So, I mean, I could do this, but it's like, then like, you get the point I'm trying to say. Versus the full swivel that the AVermedia has to look up, down, left, right, anywhere you need it to look. But let's get into the important thing. Let's talk about the image quality, because there was something super important that happened the first time I plugged this in. When I first plugged in the camera, it actually looked like this. My face is completely washed out. The whole thing is overexposed. I was understandably a little concerned for the quality of the camera at first. However, something really interesting that I've never seen happen on a camera was possible here. What I did to make this camera look as good as it did was I went into properties, I went to configure video, and over here, I dropped the brightness all the way down. And I'll explain to you why I turned it all the way down in just a second. But the second thing I did was I went into filters, I added a color correction here, and I turned the gamma up just a little bit, just to bring that brightness back in. Brought up the contrast a little bit. Maybe brought in a tiny bit of saturation to bring in those colors. And that's looking really good. And you could say to yourself, well, you can do that with any camera. But let me explain why this is so much different than any other webcam. You can see in the stream cam footage here that this spot on my forehead and even this spot over here in the darker side are overexposed. They are washed out. That is completely white on the screen. And if I go into properties here and click configure video, if I turn down this brightness, you can see no matter how far down I bring this spot is still overexposed. There's nothing I can do to bring spots like this that are overexposed back into color. This is because the dynamic range of the AVermedia 513 is much wider. Even though it started off too bright and overexposed, that's just because the settings were turned up too high. The webcam itself was still capturing all the color information of those bright areas. So when I turned it down, those colors came back. I just can't believe the difference in quality between these two cameras. It's not even fair. This is like what AMD has been doing to Intel. Oh my gosh. I think you can probably tell that I'm super impressed with this webcam. I can't imagine a reason to buy a $180 webcam, save up that much money if just by saving up an extra 70 bucks, you can go with something like this. This is incredible. It's important to remember though, there are things you're not going to be able to get when you go with a webcam instead of a traditional camera. The first one being the control, not only the control of the exposure settings like the aperture and the shutter speed and the ISO, but more importantly, control as in being able to swap out lenses. You are stuck with this one look. You will not be able to get a natural shallow depth of field, that background blur that you get from really fancy cameras with really fancy lenses. However, by the time you get a camera that can get that shallow depth of field, you're usually shelling out $700 to $800, and you can get this thing for $250. Another suggestion that's worth debating that I've made a video on before is using a GoPro as a webcam. I'll put a video in the corner up here, but we compared using a used old GoPro that was what, $40, $50 with a cam link against the stream cam. And not only did the GoPro completely blow it out of the water, they were the exact same price overall, but also when you're ready to upgrade from a GoPro to an actual mirrorless camera, you already have the cam link. However, both GoPros that I got were super finicky. They were struggling half the time. I couldn't get them to work. That might not be something you're willing to deal with if you don't understand cameras very well. And buying a brand new 2020 webcam, well, there's just not as much risk there. Go ahead and take one more side-by-side look at all three, just so you can kind of see the difference in color accuracy, detail, marvel in the glory that is this webcam. AVermedia, you absolutely nailed it. I was so concerned that when you brought a $400 camera down to $250 that you were gonna blow it. It was not gonna be the same camera, and you guys absolutely nailed it. Good work. Guys, I hope this helped. If you have any other questions, maybe something I didn't go over, again, feel free to jump into my stream. Link to that in the description below, or jump into the Discord. We've got over 100,000 members in the Alpha Gaming Discord, all of which are looking for cameras, webcams, microphones, whatever. Jump in there, start a conversation. And as always, happy streaming.
Oh. Oh. Oh.